another difficult sort of moment of events to talk on. Back for episode 9, guys. Thanks for tuning in again. Joining us today, Anthony Costa. Anthony, if you'd like to introduce yourself, thanks for coming on, man.
That's all right, boys. Thanks for having me, Ash. Nice one, Kallum, mate. Yeah, Anthony, I'm 39 and I'm a recovering Tottenham Hotspur addict.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
I just don't know what to say, boys. I'll tell you one thing, lads. You know you're always going to get let down by Spurs in a season, so it's just if and when. Do you know what I mean? And what I saw last night, I mean, I'm sure we're going to touch upon it and more, but it was just 11 individuals on the pitch. Me and Ash have spoken about this many times today on Clubhouse. Just not good enough. Just not good enough. The way we played, the heart, the fight. Listen, if you go down 3-0 and you're fighting, you can go, do you know what? We tried. But that's one word. We did not try. And yeah, very, very disappointed, as you can tell by my voice, because I've just been gutted all day. Just been gutted all day. You don't wake up at 5:30 in the morning still reeling about a game. Do you know what I mean? You should be worrying about your family, getting your kids to school. And all I was doing was on the phone to like Clubhouse, listening to Ash, speaking to my pals and everyone else, and just trying to dissect 120 minutes of poor football.
Yeah, I think all our Spurs fans was in the same boat this morning. I was up at 4:30 a.m. and the first thing that comes to my mind is what was last night all about. Because the thing is, there's going to be the debate: is it the manager, is it the players, is it the board? Regardless of what instructions Jose is given, to go to a game against a team, I'm not discrediting Zagreb, but to play against a team like them with a 2-0 aggregate lead and lose 3-0 is embarrassing. It's absolutely embarrassing.
At 100%. I mean, we can sit here and we can, we've done it. People have done it. We're not the only ones. Like, we can kind of sit here and criticize Jose and his setup. But at the end of the day, there comes a moment when, as a football player, you have to take some kind of ownership on the game. You have to elite players, they are able to read a game, see the game themselves and say, nah, this isn't good enough. And they put it right. There is not one player on the pitch, and I hate to say it, Harry Kane included, that has that ability to just change the game themselves. Yet again, we're saying this. Lucas, for me, only player on the pitch that had a good attitude that game. Everyone else's attitude was not right. And it showed in their performances. And I just feel that when we've got our back up, when we've got our backs up against the wall, right? We've had a shocking performance in the North London derby. It shows everything about your character, how you bounce back from that, right? And the bounce back that I saw just tells me everything I need to know about that team's character. And the harsh reality is that the majority of the players on that pitch don't deserve to play for this club again.
100%. I think it's clear to see that there's a lot more going on behind the scenes than what we can see already. Because, like you said, last week, the North London derby, the fact that these players can't be motivated enough to play our local rivals is embarrassing in itself. So playing against Zagreb on Thursday, and what we all want to see is a reaction. And they came to that game and they didn't turn up. Same as Sunday, didn't turn up. And you just think, what is going on behind the scenes? I wish there was a part 2 of the Amazon documentary this season, because I want to know what's going on.
And do you know what I want to touch on? Yeah, there's 3 points now. The first one is obviously what Lloris said, and Lloris has basically come out and said that that performance was a reflection of the deeper issues in the club, right? Jose said something similar when he said, there's problems at this club that I can't fix as a coach, right? And Danny Rose has kind of touched on issues in the documentary. And it's just now made me think, if Jose's saying there's issues that he can't fix, Lloris is saying there's issues at the club, other issues at the club, it makes me think, for me personally, it seems like there's a rift in the dressing room, right? And I think it's clear as daylight to see that, right? Especially from what hearing happened at halftime in the Liverpool game when Sergio Aurier was sent home. And there's must be something going on with the chairman. And the fact that it's leaking onto the football pitch should be no surprise to anyone.
Yeah, I mean, but what you're touching upon there, Ash, is the mentality, though, fella. It's the mentality of the team, and unfortunately, it's in our DNA. I really, honestly do think that we are a cursed club. You know what I mean? We can be going on these amazing runs, winning these games, but at the end, the fundamental thing at the end of the day is it papers over all these cracks. Because when the shit hits the fan, so to speak, everyone just like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. What are we going to do? There's no plan. There's nothing. There's nothing at this club. It's just dead. So it's just nothing. No spirit. No fight. And that's the thing that grates on me, man. It really does, because I'm fed up of hearing, yeah, but we might finish above Arsenal. And me and Ash alluded to it today. Like, is that our thing? Is that our?
Yeah, forget that. That's what Arsenal fans are like. We shouldn't stoop to that level. You know what I mean?
Anthony, the guy said, the guy that we was in the clubhouse room said it, and I said to him, I said, is that what our standard is, to finish above Arsenal? That should not be something that we consider. It shouldn't. And I mean, personally, as a fan, I don't ever look. I mean, obviously, yeah, it's nice to do that because they're the ones that created the St. Tottenham today. But at the end of the day, it's not. It's not. That's not our standard, right? And I feel that. You know what? Like I've said things before, and I've thought about them now, and I still. I mean, I want to know what your guys' opinion is on this now, right? Because for me, the players need to have a long, hard look at themselves, right? They need to, we can sit here and say this plays, but we're going to be saying the same plays over and over again. I think I get that the players, it's clearly evident that they don't believe in him, right? They look confused on the pitch. I'm hearing multiple stories that the players are bamboozled by his ideas. And I get it, right? But Zagreb, you have to do better than that. It's not acceptable, no matter who the manager is. Do you know what I call it? I call it a gutless performance. That gutless performance is not acceptable. Now, I understand that Jose's had issues that he can't control, and we're going to touch on that. And that goes from players that came in last season that he didn't want, and not being able to sign the centre back that he wanted, which does make me feel sorry for him. But then there are times when I look at Jose, I look at his treatment of certain players, I look at his lack of kind of identity in this team, and I just, for me, long term, not even long term, I just think the profile of this club is not a match for him, because we don't have world-class players in every position like he's used to at every club he's been. We don't have a big transfer budget. So I just don't feel like this club's profile matches what he has been used to his entire career. So, I mean, do you guys see any different? Because that's how I see it.
Bro, like Chiellini said a couple of years ago, it's the history of the Tottenham. And he's right, bro. It's almost ingrained in our DNA. And you look at the squad we have, and there's about 7 to 10 players, and we name them every single week, that shouldn't have been there for the last 3 years. No. I know there's that one moment of the game that stands out to me. Sissoko, we're chasing the game, about 5 minutes left, and he just booted the ball in the air. Like, you know what I'm talking about. In the middle of the pitch, man, just booted the ball in the middle of the air. No look to create an attack or to go forwards. Shocking on the ball. Same goes for Harry Winks, Dyer, Sanchez. All of these, man, they shouldn't be at our club. And the thing is, yeah, we can sit here and say this every week. When summer comes, Harry Winks, Musa Sissoko, they'll still be here. Dyer or Sanchez, one of them will still be here. So we can't expect anything to change, whether Jose goes or not. Nothing will change. So when we talk about this long-term plan, we've got a nice stadium or whatever, players like Kane and so on, they're not going to stick around for this. Why would they?
No.
And you know what? When you were talking about the mentality thing, right? This is something that me and Anthony talked about in Clubhouse. One of the reasons why we struggle is because of this whole Spursy mentality. Now, Eric Dyer's come out and said that the players want to change that whole perception of Spurs, that you know, we are historically we bottle it, right? And he come out and said both of them hate that word. The players hate that word. They want to change it, right? Now, the reason why it's difficult for us is because when you go into a big game or a cup final, whatever it is, as a Spurs player, you naturally have that doubt, not doubt, but you naturally have that playing on your mind before the game's even started, the history of the club, right? When you play for Manchester United, when you play for Chelsea, when you play for Arsenal and you go into a big game, every single one of the coaching staff and management remind you that when you go out there, you're playing for Manchester United, you're playing for Chelsea, you're playing for Arsenal. And I think that is what helps these clubs able to achieve things when they haven't had the best of squads. Like, you look at Manchester United under Jose, right? You look at them under Louis van Gaal. They didn't have the greatest team, but they still beat us in the semi-final, and they still won a trophy under both managers. And I feel that they did it with a below average squad because they had that mentality behind them that we're playing for Manchester United. We play for the badge on our shirt. Our players don't have that. So when it comes to a big game, we already at a massive disadvantage. Now, for me, I look at Man City, and they were in the same position as us, right? And the way they changed it was buying the cream of the crop. It didn't work. It didn't work with every single player. They bought some, didn't work out, right? But they acted on it. And that's what we have not done. The players that we've bought in, we've not acted on the ones that haven't worked. We've kept them at this club for far too long. And what we have to do is, to get out of this, is we have to buy the cream of the crop.
Yeah.
And that's the only way we're going to change. That's the only way we're going to change the future of this club.
But who though? Who's out there? I mean, we talk all the time. Of course we do, but it's a fine line of what again. We're coming back to the fan base itself, because you bring in another player, and the first thing people say is, "Oh, but we don't want to upset that player." But why? It's all about competition. Football's all about competition. Even Aurier come out and said, "I'm so glad Doherty's bought because it's given me a lift. You know, it's given me a lift, and I've got competition." Or it hasn't quite worked out for Doherty, but this is when we first signed him. It's just we accept and applaud mediocrity, and I for one,
say it every week.
I ain't having it.
And Anthony, we've been accepting, and not even just accepting, we've been praising mediocrity for our entire history, and it's pathetic. And it you know, we can touch on points that such as Sissoko, right? Like for example, we used to call him, some of our fans call him the GOAT.
Bro, I never understood that. Where did that come from?
These are the kind of things, right?
Yeah, go on.
Sorry?
No,
these are the kind of things that need to change, and they need to change from top to bottom.
Yeah.
And it starts from Daniel Levy. Now, I've said before, right, and I'll say it again, that I think business. When you look at the business side of things, he has done a good job, right? We haven't spent historically because he's been saving up for the stadium.
Yeah.
But when you look at, in terms of what he hasn't done right, is letting players go. That's got nothing to do with saving money for the stadium, because if anything, you would have got a lot more money for Eric Dyer 3 years ago than you would today. Man United wanted him for 50 million. How much is he worth today? Honestly,
bro, he wasn't even worth 50 mil when they wanted him for that. The whole time he's been at the club, whether he was playing DM, centre back, Eric Dyer has not been a good player at Spurs. He hasn't. We should have just cut ties with him when we had the chance. And like Anthony was saying about our club not wanting to upset the players, I'm hearing that Sissoko's a big influence in the dressing room. It says a lot, doesn't it, about the mentality of our players. It's no surprise that he's a big influence. And this whole, we need to keep him there to keep other players happy. Forget that. Sissoko's not good enough. A bag of these players aren't good enough. Lamella's been there 7 years. Bale's come back to replace him.
Bro, Lamella's do you know what? I got to say this, right? Lamella has been at this club coming on 9 years.
For real.
No, and scored 17 goals. If he scores 20, they give him a bonus, a nice bonus to Roma.
We've got to give Roma a bonus.
Yeah, if he scores 20 goals in a season, and that's never going to happen.
And this is the problem, right? It just goes to show. And I want to talk about the players for a minute, because the same players that threw Poch under the bus are at this club. And some of the players that fought for him and were the best players under his period, his time at the club, have gone. So this is something that needs to be addressed. And it's not good enough sacking managers and putting out a club statement without Levy has to, if he's doing these club statements, yeah, you have to accept some kind of responsibility yourself. And he hasn't done that. You look at the club statement for Pochettino, disgrace. Yeah, disgrace. All the good that he did for this club, there was not one mention on the fact that he might not have been backed how he should have. That guy went 18 months without signing a single player.
Yeah.
No, nothing from Levy in the club statement when they sacked him. Nothing.
I'll read you something, lads. I've got because I'm gonna chat. Ash knows. We've got a friend Frank. I think he's watching now. I sent him this today, boys. Where is it? Here we go. Right, since ENIC has arrived, 20 years ago, Jacques Santini lasted 5 months. Gone. Yol sacked at half time. Ramos, Keenan Berber sold, replaced with Fraser Campbell on loan. Redknapp wanted Tevez and Cahill and ended up with obviously Zaha and Nelson. AVB, Modric and Bale sold, no Moutinho. And Poch, as you said, Ash, 18 months, 0 signing. Where does the problem lie? All these managers can't be wrong. It's a fact. All these managers cannot be wrong. So it's top, middle, and bottom. That's what it is. The board, manager, players. And
you know, when we touch on the board, right? So, do you know what, Anthony? The one thing I can kind of understand is the reason why we haven't spent, and bought, not even just spent and replaced players with adequate money and buying in players that can fill those boots is because of the stadium, right? I understand that part, but then if that is the case, we should not have been sacking every manager expecting a different result, right?
Yeah.
What's the definition of insanity?
Yeah, exactly.
Doing the same thing over and over again and getting the same
doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So I understand the fact that we might not have been in a position to invest, but then the expectations should not have been so high at the time. You can't how can you give a manager Luis Saha when he wanted Luis Suarez? Who was the other one Harry Redknapp wanted? He wanted Hazard, and who did he get again?
He got no, he wanted Hazard. He also wanted Tevez and Cahill as well.
He wanted Tevez. He got Darren Bent. He wanted Luis Suarez. He wanted Luis Suarez, and he got Luis Saha. Right?
Yeah.
You cannot expect someone to get that club into the Champions League. And what Redknapp did was in my eyes phenomenal. Right? And it's the same thing with Poch. Like, I can understand that some people thought that he came to the end of his reign, but then at the same time, Levy's got to understand now. Redknapp's in the same situation. Martin Jol was in the same. That sacking of Martin Jol was a disgrace, right? Martin Jol was in the same situation. Poch is in the same situation. Jose's in the same situation. So rather than just coming out and saying club statements, the manager's gone, you've got to accept some kind of ownership to this because it is on you as well.
But also, when we look at the appointment of Jose, right, he's brought Jose in because Levy's obviously thought the squad's good enough. I'm assuming they had a conversation about how much finances Jose would have got to start that season, and he must have seemed to believe that the squad was good enough. I think he saw Kane and Son and thought, I can do something with this team. He's come in there with the idea of, I can win these man a trophy. We've been hungry for a trophy for ages. For one reason or the other, the last however many weeks, it seems like the players aren't playing for the manager anymore. For whatever reason that is, we don't know. Whether it's the style of football that they're not happy with, which is very understandable. Sitting back, no pressing, no intensity. But then I'm hearing talks of people that are going to the games on the sidelines, Jose shouting press all the time. Players aren't listening to his instructions.
Yeah, I heard that.
The core issue is we've got players at this club who aren't willing to play for the manager. They need to leave. But also, Jose, what we've been saying this season, we're not making top 4. Season's finished. The Europa League title is the one thing that we needed to go all out for. It's a trophy. It's a chance to play Champions League football next season. Now that we got kicked out, and the thing is, I can take getting kicked out to a better team in the semi-final, to a Man United or whoever.
100%.
But to go out in the fashion that we did shows a lack of bottle that we have. The season's finished, bro. I can say it in Portuguese. Finalizado, whatever it is, so Jose can understand. We're done. Season's finished.
And do you know what? Like, just touching on that performance, right? I mean, first half, I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say that's the worst 45 minutes I've seen us play this season. And that performance kind of just sums us up. It sums up our season, because there was no intensity from the get-go. Everyone was slow on the ball. And do you know what? It just looked like we were happy camping in our own half, getting by, and there was no one was making runs in behind. No one. I mean, Zagreb didn't really have too much quality in the first half, so there was never really a period of time where I was too worried. But this is the thing. In games like that, when you don't go and kill the game, we should have gone there first half, try and get the first away goal. If we get the first away goal, then I could warrant us sitting back, right? Because when you get the first away goal, they then have to score 4 goals to go through, which is nigh impossible, right? And what happens is when you don't go there and try and kill the opponent, you give them confidence. And what happened? We saw that as they grew into the game, they grew in confidence. When they started, every time they came at us, they looked threatening. And then the more times they came at us, the more they started to press. Yeah. And what I can't understand is, yes, the players, you need to take ownership of that performance. But when Jose comes out and says, he said multiple times now, the players are not doing what they've told him to do, right? And this is where I'm gonna now look at Jose, because like I said, we got to look at all the parts, right? We've got to look at the players, the players, the chairman, and Jose, right? If you can't motivate, if you can't get a group of players to do what you are telling them to do what you are doing with them in training, then I'm sorry. But should you be the manager?
Yeah. And the thing is, yeah, like you said, Ash, what's one of the most embarrassing things about all of it is we needed 1 goal. We scored one away goal. We scored 1 away goal. They need to score 4 now to go through. And we couldn't do that. Like you say, I'll warrant us sitting back if we score that away goal first. Then they've got to score 4 goals. We can sit back all we like. But we came to that game almost with the feeling, we're through anyway. That sort of complacency that, it's only Zagreb, we're through. And they turned up. They played with heart, like Jose said in his interview.
Kallum, they wanted it, mate. At the end of the day, this is what I was saying again. I hate repeating myself, but last week, them lot down the road had to fly to Greece, as we all know, to play Olympiacos. 3 days later, they're playing us in the North London derby. We had to travel 1.5 miles from White Hart Lane to Highbury, Emirates. They turned up. We didn't. This is the thing. We were all laughing at them going, they're going to be knackered, but they weren't, because they were up for it. They were up for it from minute 1, as we all saw. Yesterday, Zagreb up for it from minute 1. I thought, oh my God, this is going to be one of them games. And it's just, you're expecting a mistake all the time. Whether who's going to make it? Who's going to make it? Oh, Dyer, I'm having Dyer on 30 minutes. I'm having Sanchez on 45. It's laughable. It is laughable now. And where does it stop? The mentality has to change.
I have to touch on this comment from Kieran about Dele, because we were talking about this in a group chat earlier, and there was debates on whether it was Jose's man management as to why Dele's become somewhat of a failure. For me, it's Dele. Dele is the reason Dele's become a failure. He started his Spurs career fantastically. He was young. He was hungry. He, like I said in the group, he didn't have half the technical ability as some of the midfielders in the Premier League at that time. His positioning, his awareness, his hunger. That's what got him in that position to score and to create chances. And it seems like he believed his own hype too much, enjoyed the lifestyle of being a good Premier League footballer, and he's fell off. And I'm hearing people say, Jose was harsh on him, etc. No, I don't feel like a player like Dele needs to be babied and constantly have like an arm around him. He needs to be told when you're playing, you're not good enough, and you need to set out the team. He got it given his chances in the Europa League, and he want to spend his time doing silly flicks and tricks. The first 45 minutes, specifically his first half yesterday, was embarrassing. Just every time just flicking the ball up in the air, no aim to actually get the ball forwards. And like I said earlier, I'll keep going back to this. I know Dele's neighbours. That week of the Champions League final, he was partying. That says all you need to know about his mentality and the mentality of half of these players. It's not good enough. Man's thinking we've won before we've already won.
And you know what, right? A lot of players say, and me and Anthony had this conversation earlier, and we do understand that certain players need to be treated a certain way, right? But at the end of the day, the mentality and the attitude of the player, no manager can coach, right? Look at Lucas Moura. The guy was removed. The guy was benched for so long when Bergwijn was starting almost every game this season. He never moaned. He never threw strops on the bench like, you know, with some players do. He put his head down, and when he got his opportunity, he took it with both hands. And right now, he's probably one of our best players, right? Dele Alli, when he gets his chance, doesn't take it. So it's got nothing to do with Jose, with what's going on with his situation. He needs to look at himself, and he needs to understand that every time he's on the pitch, he's not giving his all. Now, whether that's a problem with him physically or mentally, for me, he needs to go, right? Because we can't, like we were touching on earlier, we can't keep these fringe players at this club just because they're fans' favourites or just because the chairman likes him. Now, Jose Mourinho, it is clear as daylight, was happy for him to go in January, yeah? Daniel Levy stops the deal going through because apparently he wanted a replacement, right? When there was, it's just shocking. Like, the guy wants to go. He's pleading to go to go and link up with Pochettino. Jose Mourinho is saying for him to go. Who is Daniel Levy? He hasn't got a Scooby when it comes to football. He hasn't got a clue. He needs to stay well out going forward. He needs to stay well out of transfers, and that's just how I see it.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's it. But coming on to Dele, what we're going on about, Ash, we spoke about this all the time. The sentimentality value of everything. Oh, you can't say that about him because, you know, in the 15-16 season, he scored that worldie against Palace. Well, he should be doing worldies all the time or trying. He played yesterday. It was terrible. Every time he touched the ball, he slows everything down. He's lethargic. He just looks heavy-legged. I'm like, guys, man, he needs to go. And then he wants to have a chance for England in the Euros. Are you joking?
Bro, Lingard's going to that team over him. Lingard, who before this season hadn't scored in like a year.
Yeah, scores against.
And do you know what I don't understand? Do you know what I don't understand with Levy, right? If Levy's someone that is so obsessed with, you know, not taking big losses on players, right? So by you keeping them at this club, surely that's going to decrease the value. Look at Dele Alli. 100%. If we got rid of him 2 years ago, we would have got around 50, 60 mil for him. Now you're looking at 20, 25. What Levy doesn't understand, he's killing himself by doing this. Eric Dyer is not going to be worth 20 mil. Yeah, we should have got rid of him two years ago, giving him a new contract. These are the decisions that Levy's making that is killing us as a club. Yes, I understand that he hasn't invested for stadium reasons, but it's these kind of decisions I can hold him accountable for and say these are the reasons why we're in the mud that we're in right now.
Listen, we've got 10 games left, right, lads? Oh, cheers. Who's Chris? Chris, nice one, mate. We've got 10 games left, okay? 11 plus including the League Cup final, which I'm not even going to talk about with you boys because you know what we're going to talk about. He has to go strong now. He has to go strong. I don't want to see no rotational. I don't want to see no this. I want strong teams, unless a few little niggly injuries here and there. I get it, but unfortunately, lads, I don't want to see certain players that were playing last night on that pitch on Sunday because I know we're going to get rolled over, boys. I know we're going to get rolled over. You know, John McGinn will score for Villa. Jack Grealish will absolutely.
I'm hearing he's back. I'm hearing Jack Grealish is coming back.
Yes, he is. Spursy, innit? Dr. Tottenham. Let's look after you.
It's so sad to think that Grealish could have come in, what was it, 2 years ago? And we offered him, I think it was like 30 mil or so we could have got him for. We offered him 3 mil and Josh Onama.
That's it, yeah. That's it.
Embarrassing.
And like I said, like, if you wanna be a big club, you have to start acting like a big club. No other traditional top four club would have kept players like Eric Dyer for this long. Players like Dele Alli wouldn't have been kept here for this long. And I think we got going forward now, we're out the Europa League, right? We got the cup final, which is just one game. So like you said, in terms of rotation, we should be set in stone. We know what our best squad is now, right? My biggest thing now is now I'm looking at Jose from now till the end of this season, right? If he's got to get this group of players together, right? And he's got to sit them down and say and get them to think in a positive direction and look at the table and be like, we're only 3 points off top 4. We have to go out there, right? The way we've been playing in the Premier League recently, I know it's against weak opposition, but we have to start playing on the front foot. We've got nothing left to lose now, right? Now it has to be all out. It has to be all out attacking football, right? Like we've showed in the past. And if you can't get a group of players together now and really fight for top 4, then come the end of the season, I don't think he should be manager. No. Because what I want now is a strong end. Listen, if we have a strong end to the season and we finish in the top 4, I think he should remain as manager. If we continue this kind of form to the end of the season and we lose the cup final, then in my opinion, he's got to go.
Okay, so if he stays, Ash, yeah, we get top 4, he stays, everyone's happy, yeah? And he doesn't get the budget he wants to buy players for next summer, next season. What happens then?
But the thing is, yeah, if we sell like 10 of the players that we need to sell, he has to have the budget then.
Yeah. Kallum, I listen, I'm completely with you, but I can't see us having a massive overhaul. We'd like to, but I just can't see it, lads. I can't see us selling players. I'd love it to happen, but it's very, very tricky, mate. Very tricky.
And you know what, Anthony? Obviously, I touched on this on multiple times on Clubhouse, and I'm going to say it again. But in this summer, right? I feel as a club we've let Harry Kane down. We failed him, right? I don't want to see that guy go his career without winning a trophy, right? I want him to leave in the summer, right? Yeah. I want him to go somewhere, and I want him to go win the trophies that he deserves, right? Yeah. He's given us, he's been loyal to us, yeah? So I think we're at a moment this is a key moment for him now. And it was a key moment for him last season, right? We've got to let him go, right? Because it's what's best for him. And quite frankly, although we can sit here and say, yeah, but we wasted the Bell money, I do think that the money that we could potentially generate from his sale could help us in the long run. Yes, we're going to lose. Yes, we're going to lose him. But the way I look at him recently, does he have he's been through Project Pochettino, right? He's now been, and that was a very long project. That's not like some 3-year project. That was 6 years, yeah? He's been through Project Pochettino, failed. Project Jose Mourinho looks on the ropes, right? I don't think he's gonna. I don't think he's got it in him anymore. And it comes a time where mentally it drains you. The club that you're at drains you. I think he needs a new environment. I think he needs a new manager, new players, everything. Right?
Me personally, I wouldn't go as far as saying I want him to go. But if he was to leave, there's no way I could be angry at him. I completely understand. I feel like he's at a point in his career where he needs to win trophies. We've all accepted he's not going to do that at Spurs. And like we've touched on in the past about we sell him, we get 120 plus mil or whatever. I'm not confident in our boards for investing that wisely, investing that correctly. I think we could get a little bit less for selling all of the deadwood then and see how we invest that first. We get 120 odd mil for Kane. What striker we're going to get to replace him? Haaland will be gone by then. He wouldn't want to come to Tottenham anyway.
Martinez from Inter Milan.
I'm hearing he wants to go. I'm hearing City want him unless they get Kane. I just can't see us replacing him adequately. And it just seems like with Kane,
you know what?
We'll go even further and further.
Do you know what? There's no point us sitting there talking about Kane replacements, but like for me, it would be Martinez. But the deadwood has to go this summer, and
it has to go first before anything.
The thing is, this should be clear as daylight for Daniel Levy. That performance should be clear as daylight for you to say, we need to get rid of half of this team. And if we lose the cup final, if we get thrashed, yeah, which is highly likely is going to happen, then that should be the final straw, right? Overhauls needed, right? And what do we, as fans, I have done it. We have to significantly lower our expectations for next season, right? And it's like a cycle, right? We brought in a good crop. We brought in a good crop of players, right? We failed to win a trophy, which we can sit here and make excuses for. In my opinion, we should have won a trophy. And it's the same cycle that's been happening. We get good players in, we sell the good players on, we don't replace them with adequate replacement. We replace them with cheap options, right? Manager gets sacked and repeat the cycle, right? Now, the best thing we can do this summer is get rid of all the deadwood. Like between the deadwood, right? I've got Sanchez, Sissoko, Dyer, Harry Winks. For me, I'm sorry, Lamela, Musa Sissoko, and Hugo Lloris. Yeah. And Dele Alli.
Ben Davies. Yeah? Ben Davies.
Sorry, Ben Davies.
That's 9 players. That's 9 players. That's a keeper. That's like.
Right.
That's a whole second string team.
That's mental.
With all those players, right? I get that it's going to be difficult to sell some, and we might have to do like loan swaps, but there is enough there to get us. To get us 3 decent players that we need, right? We need a top class centre back, right? It's evident.
That's the priority.
We need a top. Go on. Do you know what? If we're just talking about getting rid of the deadwood, we need 2 centre backs. 1 is not enough, right?
No,
we need 2 centre backs, right? If Davies goes, we need a left back. We need a left back. We've got to remember we've got Sessegnon and Skip coming back. Those are Skip. I'm really hoping is just going to feel like a new signing, right? And then I did say before I don't think we need a centre mid. I honestly think we need to seriously look at another right winger.
Yeah.
Do you?
I mean, Bergwijn didn't even start, so he's clearly way down the pecking order.
Yeah, and you know, in terms of Bergwijn,
we ain't replaced Eriksen, man.
What's the point of him being at this club? If he couldn't even play yesterday, what is the point of him being at this club?
I thought he was a shoo-in to start that game, even though he's been poor this season. I thought that's the type of game he's going to start, and the fact that Jose didn't start him shows how little he rates him.
Yeah.
But I think for me, what's so frustrating for me, right, is the fact that there's no fans in the stadium allows these players to get away with so much. They're so protected in the sense that they ain't got fans there screaming at them how they should be each game. I feel like they don't know what it means to play for the badge. Yeah, that's something that hurts. As fans, we've spent so much money and time and energy on supporting this club, and these fans play like they don't give a shit.
No.
But then the problem is, you say that, but a lot of these players shouldn't be here, and that comes down to the chairman.
Yeah,
he's got to accept responsibility. He has to accept responsibility of what we saw on that pitch yesterday. Some of it is going to go to Jose because, you know, you have to get your players to show a bit more of a fight than that, and then some of it's got to go to Levy because the vast majority of them should still not be at this club. Why on earth Eric Dyer was given a contract last season, I don't know. And this is what Anthony was talking about when it comes to accepting these average players at our club and expecting them to deliver in big games.
It's I call it, you know what, lads? I call it this Stefan Freud trophy. You know, we bless him. Stefan Freud wasn't the greatest of players, but everyone told, you know, he showed heart. Apparently, you know, he showed heart. But I can show heart. Yeah. Just what I'm saying. I want show heart, but I want an end product.
Exactly.
There will never be another Roy Keane. You know, we had Stefan Freud. Arsenal had Vieira. We had so-and-so. Everyone else had Roy Keane. And we just got this thing about applauding players because they run around a lot. I get told Lamela runs around a lot.
I was just going to say that. I was just going to say that about Lamela.
Yeah.
He's a prime example.
Yeah, exactly. Sissoko, I was saying to my brother was like, why is everyone calling Sissoko the GOAT? As you said, boys. He's never, has he ever controlled a game? Never.
He can't control the ball, let alone a game.
Does he knock a ball 15 yards, whip it? None. He's useless. And with Winks next to him. It's like, come on, man. Come on.
Exactly. Why are we giving contracts to these players that haven't earned them? A contract should be, you should get a new contract after you've performed well throughout a season or two, and you deserve that. You play for a new contract. You don't get them just off the back of being at the club for a certain amount of years.
I've got people telling me Harry Winks is good enough for Man City. Okay.
He's not good enough for my Sunday league.
Do you know what? I've heard pundits say that. I can't remember. Was it Jamie? No, it wasn't Jamie Redknapp. It was someone that was saying, you know, it was Genius. He was saying he's a good player. Man City wanted him. Man City only wanted him for that homegrown quota. Yeah. They did not want him. They did not want him when it comes to quality. They wanted him homegrown quota, sit on the bench, play a couple of games, but that's it, right?
Yeah, because I remember we wanted 50 mil from him, and they laughed at us and said, you know what, we'll find our homegrown player somewhere else.
And they got Phil Foden coming through.
Baller, big
take
baller.
the mick out of everyone.
And I want to touch on I want to touch on something else, right? Which I think is maybe not so much now, but I think in the past 2 years it has really affected us, and that is our lack. That is a lack of talent. Maybe now we're seeing it in the academy, but was the lack of talent we've had come from the academy? Because other clubs, right, when it's not going well with the first team, they look at the youngsters and be like, right, who can we put on that pitch that might make a difference? Over the last 2-3 years, we haven't had anyone like that. Every youngster we've had has been out on loan. Jack Clark has been gone on loan. Oliver Skip has been in the squad but hasn't played. We haven't really had anyone. That can challenge these big players, and that the manager can say, you know what, I'm going to give you your chance, and they can say, you know what, I'm going to do my best to take that chance, right?
Yeah.
There's no one like that. We've got players coming through now. We've got Alfie Devine. We've got Dane Scarlett. We've got, is it Levinier? His name is
Levinier.
We've got a few coming through, but I think as a club in the last 10 years, maybe even longer than that, we have really not brought anyone through the academy of any real quality. That is,
Harry Kane. Harry Kane is the one who's.
But that was years ago. That was 8-9 years ago.
For me, yeah, what baffles me is Japhet Tanganga is the one player that I believe could walk into our first team. Why does Jose never pick him? When our defense is tragic. We've seen that Tanganga can play centre back, right back, or left back. He's played it against Liverpool, against Man City, and he's played well. Why are we still starting Doherty, Dyer, Sanchez, whether it's Europa League games or whatever? Give him a run out. He's shown enough to deserve it.
I know. Well, Roden, give him a shot. Yeah, we wanted his centre half, and they went and got Roden lastminute.com in the Championship transfer window, and he's played 2 games, 2.5 games.
Didn't even register him for the Europa squad.
Exactly. What?
And this is,
go on.
And this is the thing. It's like, it's the insanity thing. If it's not working, you can't keep playing the same players and expect different results. So Tanganga should be played more, right? Joe Rodon should be played more. And this comes down to Jose. Too often earlier on in the season, Dyer was continually making mistakes, continually starting. And it's just like, if you're trying to, do you know what? Jose could have really helped his case if he rotated the squad as much as possible. If he played Rodon, if he played Tanganga, if he tried all the different avenues he could have tried, then he's got a real case to Levy and go, right, this is not working. I'm not insane because I'm doing different things. The problem does not lie with me, right? And he hasn't done that. So this is why I feel everyone is to blame here. It's the players, it's Jose, it's Daniel Levy. But the question is, where do we go from here? Now, Dobbs in the chat raised a good point. If Daniel Levy thinks he's going to get the money that he wants for these deadwood players, he's joking. He's kidding himself. So realistically, I think we need to significantly, as fans, and I don't want to come here and be really negative, but I think we need to seriously lower our expectations for next season. Do not be surprised if only 3 or 4 players leave the club this summer. And that's a harsh reality. That's the reality of it.
I agree.
Because we've seen it time and time again. There's no reason for us to believe that there's going to be a mass clear out. I mean, even if we get beat badly by Man City, I can't see it happening.
I think this is true as well. I think Levy overvalues a lot of the deadwood, and then when it comes to selling players like Winks and Sissoko, he's gonna overprice them. Teams ain't gonna want to buy them, and they're gonna be stuck here for more seasons, and nothing's gonna change.
Yeah, sounds right.
And then Soups has mentioned give Vinicius a chance. Listen, I was calling for Vinicius to be started a lot during the season. The more and more I watch him play in his admittedly short cameos, he's another Joe Linton, bro, from the looks of it. The man can only really play in the box. He missed a sitter yesterday.
You know what?
Actually, sitter sliced it, missed it. He's not worth the 36 mil that Benfica want for him, unfortunately.
And you know what? I don't know about you guys, but I wasn't impressed with him at all yesterday, even though he didn't play that much. I didn't think that was a performance to give it the manager anything to think about. But here's the problem, right? Why over the years have we looked at this option as a second striker, as a, you know, someone with not much ability to put in it to do half a job when Kane's not there? Why haven't we gone and signed a top striker, someone who can not be a backup to Kane but challenge Kane? Give Kane a kick up the arse when he needs it, because let's be honest, he's been fantastic for us, but there's been times where he needs a kick up the arse, and Kane has not had anyone realistically challenging his position.
Yeah, and he's dropping too deep as well. He's never, like last night, he was dropping so deep trying to get the ball because he's got no creativity in that midfield. So he's having to do two jobs. He's coming back, picking the ball up. He's trying to do everything, and I'm like, mate, you're running around like a headless chicken, running yourself ragged, mate.
The first 20 minutes yesterday, he's created 2 chances for Dele, 2 very good chances. One where he's passed the ball.
I remember that first one.
Dele's in the box by himself, and he's passed it to no one. I don't know what, he literally could have run it into the box further, had a shot. The second one, Kane's won the ball edge of the box, playing a lovely cross. Dele's just not even gone for it. So, like you say, Kane's doing 2 roles. He's playing a number 9 and number 10. He needs someone to help him out.
Eriksen, man, I'll tell you what, we're missing. Him and Dembele, man.
And like I said, these are the players that were good for Poch. They've been sold. Fair enough, Eriksen got sold because he wanted to leave. We can't do anything about that, right? But it's why are the players that threw Poch under the bus still at this club? Why?
Like Dob said, I was thinking about this one as well. We could have had Ings a few years.
Yeah.
Imagine Ings challenging Kane for that spot.
Yeah, but even as a number 9, Ings as a number 9, and
playing deeper.
Or Ings where Son is, or Ings where Bale. It just gives us different options. Ings, as we said before, Ash, I'm going to repeat myself. Kallum, get someone that knows the Premier League. That knows
Premier League proven.
That's Premier League proven. I'm fed up of us signing the Janssens, Soldados, Postigas. I'm going back years, but these are the players that were firing for their countries, teams, come over here and they couldn't hit a barn door.
I remember we had a chance to sign Mane from Southampton, and I think we got Sissoko instead.
No, Sissoko was it was between him and Wijnaldum. And
who was it we got instead of Mane? We had a chance to buy Mane, 30-odd mil.
Yeah, it was Sissoko. It was Sissoko. It was that season.
It was, yeah. Was it?
Was it Soldado? No, Sissoko.
No, it was because I remember clear as daylight. It was Mane.
Hang on, I think you muted yourself or something.
Ash, you muted.
But the thing is, yeah, the point is we've had a chance to bring in these players that have done it in the Premier League, and instead we want to go to the Dutch league or to the French league, where we know it's going to take players time to adjust in a completely different league. Like you look at Lo Celso, and I still think he's a good player, and we need to give him time, right? But the numbers he was putting up at Betis compared to now just shows how much time and space you have on the ball. As you come to the Premier League, it's going to take you a while to adapt.
That's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. You know, Bruno Fernandes, everyone's saying, but we could have brought funds Bruno Fernandes, but we might have ruined him. He might have been injured.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been surprised.
So you've got to look for people like Nkudu. I mean,
Nkudu, all of these players.
They're just not good enough.
Soldado was firing in Spain. Brought him to the Prem. Rubbish.
Rubbish.
Terrible. I ain't seen a striker as bad as him for years.
So Janssen's up there, though, isn't he, boys?
Yeah, Ash, you're silent. Might have to leave and come back or something. But all now I've been neglecting the comments. There's been quite a few comments here.
What's the comments saying, man?
Jose getting sacked if you don't make top 4. Might as well sack him now. Yeah, I don't know if you saw that as well. I've seen a lot of things.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what I was saying is,
go on.
Going on the rumours, obviously, you know, there's rumours coming out saying if Jose doesn't get top 4, he's going to get sacked. I agree with it. I honestly do, because I feel that he's made too many wrong decisions in the season, which has which has been a reason of which has resulted in us being in the position that we're in, where we could have been in a strong position. Like I said to you, if we don't have a strong end to the season, I don't see a reason for him to stay. I honestly don't. And here's what I think. I want to get your guys' opinions on the new manager, right? But here's my opinion on the new manager, right? It's clear as daylight that we're not going to spend a lot of money in the summer, right? We understand that, right? So this whole thing of getting a winning manager is a waste of time, right? There's no point in getting a winning manager, giving him a shoestring budget and expecting him to get us in the top 4, right? What we need to do now, this is hypothetically speaking, if Jose goes, we need to get in a manager who has been working with a smaller budget, but someone that gets the best out of a bad bunch, because that's what the next manager is going to have to do. We're not going to get a winning manager and expect them to work wonders with the squad that we've got. We can't get another Jose, right? So now if Jose gets sacked, in my opinion, we have to get someone like a Nagelsmann, or I dare even say it. I don't want him, but someone like a Scott Parker / Graham Potter.
I'm thinking Graham Potter, you know.
/ Brendan Rodgers. What I mean is somebody that doesn't spend a lot of money but gets the best out of a bad group of players. That's what we need.
When I look at the appointment of Jose, right, and it's more about, I think Levy sort of bought into the guise of Jose's trophies, his winning mentality. He's going to inspire these players to win titles. The thing about Jose is he needs players that are going to put their bodies on the line, everything on the line to play for him, play exactly how he wants. And it's clear to see our players don't have the mentality to do that. See, with someone like Graham Potter, he's got a clear style of play, attacking football. The amount of chances Graham Potter has created for Brighton, it's just unfortunate that he hasn't got the players to necessarily finish off them chances. If we had someone like Graham Potter who's creating that much chances for Kane, Son, maybe Bale if he stays, whoever else we got, if we bring someone else, and maybe Bergwijn, whatever, that's goals. That's goals in the team, a clear identity of football, clear style of play that's going to have the players that we have wanting to play for the manager, rather than just thinking, you know what, he won trophies in the past, so let me believe in you.
Anthony, what's your thoughts, mate?
I think I get what you're saying, lads. I really do. I just think someone like Potter, the Spurs fans will never accept it, because in their eyes, you're looking down the league. I get what you're saying, Kallum. For me, I don't know much about Nagelsmann. You know, he's doing wonders at RB Leipzig. If he comes over, it's going to take him a year to get used to the Premier League. So if it happens, great, I'll support him. But my gut is saying Rodgers. My number one is Rodgers.
He wouldn't come. There's no reason for him to leave Leicester.
I know, Kallum. Listen, I completely agree. But I'm just saying my.
Oh yeah, he's got to be everyone's number one.
And the thing is, right? If someone you want is somewhere else, you have to go out there and do your best to get him. You have to show like we said, it comes back to ambition. You have to show ambition, right? And I just feel that. And another thing I want to talk about is the recruitment, right? Like, these guys, Steve Hitchen cannot be trusted. What we need is Louis Campos from Lee, right? Lee's kind of structure is they buy players in the region of, you know, anything less than 25 mil, yeah, and they develop them into superstars. It doesn't always work, but they try. That's the kind of, if obviously we're not going to be spending a lot of money in the next 1 to 2 to 3, maybe 3 years. That's the kind of guy that we need on side. Someone that has provenly recruited players for cheap and turn them into superstars. Because like we said, Anthony, it's about spending smart. Look at what Leicester have done.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Their recruitment's amazing.
Like we can sit here and say that we don't spend money, we don't spend 100 million on a player, but sometimes it's just about spending smart. And that's why I want Louis Campos, because Louis Campos has worked with Jose before, right? So we need him, someone that can identify good players for a cheap price and get the best out of them. That is the best way we can move forward in the next 2 to 3 years.
But I think for me, quickly going back to what Anthony was saying about Graham Potter, I do feel like a lot of Premier League fans, specifically people that support teams in the top 6, they turn their nose up at managers of lower clubs because they think, you know, they're so that at this point in the league, and they don't take into account the players they have and the budget they have and whatnot. Whereas when you think about it, someone like Graham Potter, the only issue is you don't know how he's going to deal with superstars, whether he can, whether he can manage players that have real quality compared to some of the players they've got at Brighton. But when you look at the actual style of football, I think there's no reason why he can't do well with a team like Tottenham. You give him better players, you give him better tools, and you think about how he's already been working.
Mate,
with
can you imagine how many chances he would have us creating for the likes of Son and Kane, left, right, and centre? And do you know what?
Yeah.
Do you know what? If Jose does go, I would honestly look at a manager that hasn't, that gets the best out of a bad bunch. That's the best way we can go. Yeah. There's no point getting another Ancelotti or what's the guy's name that other people want from Juve. His names can't come to right now. Allegri. There's no point getting Allegri in because he's going to come in, work with a shoestring budget, and everyone's going to have high expectations again. We need to lower our expectations now going into the next season. Yeah, and we need to understand it's going to be a painful couple of years.
Yeah. What do you reckon? Now's a good time to preview Villa real quick.
Yeah, good time.
Many of us are looking forward to that game.
No.
Oh, mate, what do I say about Villa? Villa are a tough side, man. Tough side. I rate Costa. I do rate Mings. I think he's coming on really well. Matty Cash, John McGinn.
Matty Cash is a player in
there. They've got some good players in there.
Matty Cash.
Do you know what I'm worried about, Anthony? I'm worried about Matt. I'm worried about Matt Doherty because that left back that they've got, Matt Target, he's going to be all over him. And the thing is, Matt Doherty is the kind of right back that will have the opposition dressing room saying, right, let's get after him because that's where the chances are going to come.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen. So that's why I think John McGinn will score and we'll be lucky to get a draw the way we're playing at the moment.
If Grealish plays, it's curtains.
Grealish plays on the left. Grealish versus Matt Doherty. You do the math.
Grealish plays on the left in the middle. He takes up that free role. He'll be all over our defence.
But Grealish will be looking at Matt. And you know, it doesn't give me much hope about Aurier because one, his performance was terrible Thursday. Two, he played 90 minutes. So it's going to be Grealish versus Matt Doherty. I'm sorry for spouting negativity, but I can't see a win.
Me neither. And like Tanya said earlier about lowering our expectations, I've been doing that all season. Before the West Ham game, I thought we was going to lose. I didn't think we was going to lose yesterday. I don't think none of us did. So it was only so low that you can lower your expectations, when you're thinking that you're
I mean, what happened last night, that was the lowest I've ever felt in a long time.
And it probably didn't help that you lost £50 as well.
Yeah, it didn't help that I lost £50 as well. Oh my God. It just, you know what? Like I said, Jose now pick these players up. We know that the players that played Thursday can't play again, right? So he's got to get our first team. He's got to get them firing. If you cannot get our first team firing, you should not be the manager of this club. So going forward, we need to get them firing and we need to try and have a strong end to the season. And you know what? If we get top 4, I'll be gassed. I will be over the moon if we get top 4.
100%.
Yeah.
But what, do you guys expect? Okay, Anthony, we're 3 points away from top 4 now. Do you expect us to get it? Yes or no?
No. Sixth. But we're sort of 7th, 6th. I'm expecting. I'm just lowering my expectation, boys, because I don't want to get too confident and then I get let down yet again. So I'm aiming low, man. I'm playing it clever.
Yeah, I'm expecting a 5th, 6th finish.
Yeah,
I'm expecting 6th. I don't want to sit through Europa League qualifiers again, watching us play Maccabi, Haifa, and them teams. That was horrific. Remember that a few months back. Not only is it Europa League qualifiers. I think there was 3 games we played. Terrible.
That was when Ben Davies got twisted.
Yeah, we nearly got knocked out of that, and it Plovdiv, didn't it? Kane had to come.
Lokomotiv, Plovdiv, and them teams.
Yeah.
That's embarrassing. I don't want to see that again. Next
do you know what? I think we'll wrap it up there. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Anthony, great guest. Thanks for having you, mate. I'm sure we're gonna have some more clubhouse therapy sessions. But yeah, guys, like and subscribe to the Never a Foul YouTube channel. We'll be back again Monday, 8 p.m. Talk about the Villa game. yeah, let's just hope for a positive end to the season. But guys, take care. Thanks and good night.
Thank you.